The fall evenings always make me kind of, I guess, nostalgic as I think back as I was growing up, because I think one of the best things in my childhood was growing up and starting to feel more and more cozy inside, when you sit around in the living room and watch TV and things. And I think I mentioned this before, but I was really influenced by my mom. My mom was a reader. She read constantly. She read nonfiction and fiction. She loved all kinds of stuff. She loved to quilt. She would go to a quilters group in our church in Springfield, Illinois, and she would go there. She went there for decades. On Wednesday mornings, she would go down with her lunch. My dad would drop her off, and she would go in and into fellowship hall, and she'd sit there with the ladies and do hand quilting for hours, and then break and have a little bit of lunch, and then finish up, and then she'd come home. But she did that every single Wednesday when I was growing up, and even when I was away from home, I knew that if I would call home and on Wednesday mornings, my mom would be at the church quilting. It was always nice to come back and visit and go down and see the ladies and chat with them. They were always so excited to hear that I lived in Egypt and Ecuador and Jordan and traveled and things like that. The other thing, my mom sewed. She would do hand sewing, but then she also had sewing machines. I think she went through many sewing machines. She had Vikings almost her whole life. And I watched her as she made clothes for us. She made a lot of clothes. She did stretch and sew. I don't know if you've ever heard of stretch and sew, but she made all kinds of great stuff. She made underwear for my little sister. She made shirts, and she made all kinds of pajamas and things like that as we were growing up. She did things like lace making, where she made lace for a while, and then she also made lace where she starched it and made it into little lace baskets, and those were so cool to watch her do. She embroidered. She did beautiful embroidery. I have so many towels. I'll show you at some point a bunch of the towels that I had her make for me before she passed, but she made a lot of towels. She loved doing, those flour sack towels, and she did that a lot. And she also did counter cross stitch, needlepoint. She did all kinds of things with her hands and textiles, and she knitted and she crocheted. She crocheted hats, and I'll show you some of the hats that she did because I do those for charity. She also did a lot of knitting, and she has a sweater. I'll show you when I do my sweaters in the next couple days. I'm going to show you a bunch of the sweaters I've made and things like that. And one of the sweaters I found in the attic as they were getting ready to move out of the house was something that she had started in the 70s, and it needed to be, I think it needed the collar and the cuffs, and it may have needed a border on the bottom too, and it may have needed to be pieced together. Maybe the sleeves weren't there, but I pieced it all together and it fit me perfectly. And what was funny is my mom and I joked that she had started it in the 70s and I finished it in like 2022 for myself. I'll post pictures of that at some point too. But my mom did so many of those things, and it really influenced me. Who was your influence? Who did you watch or learn from, and where did you get inspired to do a lot of the creative things that you do?